Sometimes, a nation does not become confused because of bad leaders. It becomes confused when citizens stop asking questions. This is a story about such a time, and about one ordinary citizen who slowly realized the difference between loyalty and wisdom. If you visit any tea stall in India in the evening, you will hear two kinds of conversations. One is about cricket. The other is about politics. One evening in a small apartment complex in Hubballi, a group of residents were discussing the country's future with great passion. Voices were loud. Opinions were stronger than facts. Someone said, "Our leader is the strongest the country has ever had." Another replied, "Anyone who criticizes him is anti-national." A third person forwarded a video from his phone and said, "See this. This proves everything." Standing quietly near the gate was Roghav, a school teacher who had just returned home from work. He listened for a while but said nothing. What troubled him was not that people supported a leader. What troubled him was how certain everyone sounded, even when nobody had real information. That night, Roghav opened his old history books. He had always believed that history has a strange habit of repeating its lessons. The first example he remembered came from Europe. In the 1930s, many citizens in Germany passionately supported Adolf Hitler. At that time, large crowds believed he was restoring national pride. Newspapers praised him. Speeches filled stadiums. Yet history later showed how dangerous it becomes when citizens stop questioning power. Roghav closed the book slowly. Crowds can be emotional, he thought. But nations need citizens who think. The next morning in school, he shared a small story with his students. He told them about the Watergate scandal in the United States. In that case, journalists, courts, and elected representatives investigated their own president. Eventually, President Richard Nixon resigned. Roghav explained gently to the students. That is how systems are supposed to work. In strong democracies, questioning leaders is not disrespect. It is responsibility. Some students looked surprised. Nobody had explained democracy to them that way before. A few days later, the same apartment discussion started again. This time someone turned to Roghav and asked, "You are a teacher. Tell us honestly, why do people support leaders so blindly?" Roghav smiled softly. Then he told them something interesting. Researchers at Massachusetts Institute of Technology once studied how information spreads on social media. Their study found that false news spread significantly faster than true news, because emotional stories travel faster than careful facts. The group fell silent for a moment. So maybe the problem is not only leaders, Roghav continued gently. Maybe the problem is also how easily we believe what we want to hear. That night, while reading again, he remembered another example. When India adopted the adoption of the Constitution of India, the leaders who wrote it had just come out of colonial rule. Yet instead of concentrating power in one person, they built institutions, courts, parliament, elections, independent media, because they understood something deeply important. No leader remains forever. But systems must remain strong forever. Slowly, Roghav began behaving differently in everyday conversations. He did not argue loudly. He did not insult anyone. He only asked calm questions. Where did this information come from? Is there another source? Are we reacting emotionally? At first, people laughed at him. But over time, something changed. When arguments became heated, someone would say, "Ask Roghav. He always checks properly." Respect arrived quietly, without shouting. One evening, the Residents' Association needed someone to represent the building in a civic meeting. Several names were suggested. But eventually, everyone agreed on one person. Not the richest resident. Not the loudest speaker. Not the most political person. They chose the man who always remained calm when others became emotional. That night, Rogov sat on his balcony and looked at the quiet street below. For the first time, he understood something clearly. Democracy does not survive because citizens worship leaders. It survives because citizens remain wiser than propaganda. History from Germany to the United States to India shows a consistent lesson: when citizens stop questioning power, systems slowly weaken. But when citizens remain calm, informed, and responsible, institutions become stronger than individuals. Real patriotism is not blind support or blind criticism, it is the courage to think clearly, verify facts, and participate responsibly in democracy. A democracy becomes strong not when leaders are powerful, but when citizens refuse to stop thinking.